Oh my God, Corinne, I saw this license plate
Uh-huh.
on my drive home. I'm gonna send it to you because I saw it and immediately thought of you, which I don't know what that means or
Oh, I'm
what that
very excited
says,
now.
but I was like, the person who's gonna enjoy this the most is Korean. Do you see it? It says Daddy. Daddy 1.
Where's Daddy 2? How
Mm.
many daddies are there? I like the
How many
handicap
did?
symbol.
I love that too, especially it's the handicap signal and then it says Daddy 1.
Oh boy. So you're seeing just the one movie, or are you seeing the whole thing?
I'm seeing all of them, but on like different days. So Friday I'm
Oh.
seeing Fellowship, Saturday I'm seeing The Two Towers, and Sunday I'm watching Return of the King.
And like inside a theater?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Are you gonna dress up for it?
Wow. No.
Well, like you're not gonna wear anything nice?
Probably. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm gonna try and dress nice.
I didn't mean like, are you show up in like a little cape with like a little pin and no
No,
shoes? Like,
because I don't have a cape with a little pin, and I would never go anywhere without shoes on. I'm not disgusting.
it sounds like you do want a little cape with a little pin, though.
I do want that cape though. High key want that cape. I just have so much Hobbit energy. Like, I don't think it's fair for
I
me to
know.
be a human person.
I know. I'm
I
trying to think, like,
know.
what would I show? I'd probably show up as just like a fucking elf. Or I want to be like one of the party elves from The Hobbit. You know?
You want to be like one of Thranduil's party elves?
Yeah, like in the forest, that's like the elves that
Yeah,
are
in
like in the
Mirkwood.
tree, just like making
Yeah.
fun of the dwarves.
Yeah, just like, and they're all getting like drunk while like they like are rolling the barrels out and they're like,
Yes, exactly. They're singing. They're literally making up a song on the
song.
spot.
Yeah, that's like the thing. It's like, let's all just collectively make up a song. Like, what?
All right, we should do an episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of We Don't Watch Movies, featuring me, Corinne.
And me, Monze.
Woo!
Wow!
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 This week, I think we're gonna talk about Cruella. But I have to remember all my opinions on it because I watched it like a month ago. And I had a lot of opinions when I watched it a month ago. But I've like cooled off since then. So
oh no.
I know. Wait, you've seen Luca, right?
Yeah, I watched it the other like a week or two ago.
Yeah, so did I. Oh no, I'll talk about Cruella. All right. I'll talk about this.
It was really cute.
I know, it was so cute. I was like, there's
Silencio, Bruno. And like I can definitely see why a lot of people have been like, this is a queer or like a trans story. Like I was kind of viewing it in that lens because I had heard so much about it and how people were like getting upset about it. So well, I'm gonna view it in that lens. And I was like, oh, that makes 100% total sense. Like I see it.
Yeah, I definitely viewed it in the queer lens, and I think I would have even if I hadn't seen like all the takes on it. It's just, it's not a hard reach to make at all.
No, it's not. Like it's so. I mean, everything is set up that way, right? Yeah. Like even when he is like when he rejects, you know, what's Alberto, right? And it's like, oh no, that's like that that self-hate kind of like, oh no, and you're like, Brock, oh no. I was having, and then like, oh, like Alberto found a home, you know, that we're someplace where he can be accepted for who he is, and like now Luca needs to go find. I was like, but he still has a home. I'm like, I was like dying.
I know.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good.
I know, it was so cute. I felt like I liked that it was a character-driven story, and I also felt like it had like more compelling interpersonal character dynamics than half the films that we get nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because all the decisions were character based. Like everything that these, everything is based on.
Yeah, and like the whole friendship thing, and like when the envy and jealousy comes in, but also when he points at him, like I like gasped when that happened, and then like just how you can see the emotional how they're feeling about each other, but it's also not like super obvious. There's like you can kind of gather there's something deeper here or whatever. It was just so compelling to me. I was like, I can see so much character relationships going on in here, and that's some of my favorite things in a film, and it just worked so well and was just so interesting just on its own. It's like this could be about like anything, and if it's these kind of characters, it's just interesting. And I liked different kind of hallmarks to different stories, but it reminded me of the one story about like what the red demon and the blue demon. I think it's is it an Oscar Wilde or is it Japanese folktale? We just don't know. But there's like it was they mentioned it in Devilman Crybaby, and it was like one of them would act like really bad or whatever because they were friends, and then the other one would come and like save everybody from the bad demon. So that was how they were living their life. But like the bad one, even though he wasn't really bad, was just playing the part, was always like an outcast so that the good one could be good. So there was that scene, right, where it seemed like it was going to be that way, but then Luca was like, nah, and I was like, ah! But yeah, just very good. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked also that it was like, even like the animation wasn't so like quote unquote like realistic, like it was. It had its unique like 3D animation, like animated style, which was really nice and really refreshing. And then like just how imaginative Luca was, and like how they showed like his imagination. I was like, finally using your like animation to like show like all the amazing things you could do with it. Like I also really like that, just like him and his little dreams and his daydreams and like the possibility. I was like, yeah, that's exactly. And like as a kid, like that's exactly how you see the world. Like it's beautiful and amazing and magical.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that a lot. And oh my god, the dad, Julia's dad.
Oh, when he turned around,
like, I was eaten by whatever. He's like, no, I was born this way. And it was like, that is such a dad joke. Oh, what a dad. And when Alberto runs away, and he's like, I gotta go look for him. And you're just like,
when he, yeah, there was like, when he started like eating it, like with his hand, like you're seeing him spend a lot of time with that kid, right? And like when he finds out he's not there, he's immediately like, I have to go look for him. Like maybe he just wants. I was like, oh, the dad really likes this kid.
He really likes him, yeah.
He cares about him so much. I'm like, this kid needs a dad figure.
I know. I was like, right away, I was like, that dad is not around. I was like, he's not there. It's just him living by himself. So sad.
Yeah. Oh, I found this story. I think it's The Red Ogre Who Cried, and it's a children's story, Japanese children's story written in the 30s. So yeah, the story reminded me a bit of this one. So because it's literally like the red ogre wants to play with the kids, and so the blue ogre plays the bad guy, so the red ogre can save the kids from the blue ogre and then play with them. But then by virtue of that, those two ogres can't be friends anymore. So it reminded me, elements of the story reminded me of that. But also, like, the real villains are the parents. How are you going to be like, I know what's safe for my child, sending him miles down into the middle of the bottom of the ocean with my Borat brother-in-law. Like, this scene, and then also, like, if you compare it to, like, a queer story, it's very, like...
Yeah, like, send him away to, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, you can't touch that, and we don't want you to touch that, so we're gonna send you far away to where you will experience no joy. Like, when the parents made that decision, I was like, you're irredeemable at this point. Like, I don't like these parents. And they were the most annoying characters to me. because I don't think they were supposed to be annoying, but they just came off extremely annoying and just too helicopter and too controlling. And I was like, just give your kid a break. Like, just go away. You were going to send him to the bottom of the ocean. Now you're like, how could he leave us? Like, bitch, I wonder why. You're going to send him in a place with no sunlight. Oh, there's so... And then there's such jerks to the other kids, too. There's, like, tossing kids in the water.
I loved when they were tossing the kids in the water. I was like, yes, throw all of them into the ocean.
I could not get behind. I was like, you guys are so annoying. So, just didn't. The parents were my least favorite part of the whole movie. Like, the stupid bicycle kid's like, whatever. He's just a jerk. Like, fine. He looks like that Despicable Me bad guy, Vector.
Vector.
Still, what does it stands for? Direction and what was that? I forgot what a vector means. The guy said it in the movie.
Oh, it's not Victor, Dad. It's a vector.
Yeah.
Vector. All right, let's talk about Cruella.
We should talk about Cruella. Okay, let's talk about other things. Yeah. So, Monze, why have you not seen Cruella?
Because I don't want to pay that money for premium access.
Yeah.
Also, it looks really dumb. I don't think there was anyone that was like, I wonder what the backstory for Cruella de Vil is. Like, there was literally no one who was like, I really want to know her story.
Yeah.
Like, like no one asked for this.
Yeah.
Literally no one asked for that story. And I think that it's hilarious that Disney will just, like, pull anything out their ass so they don't have to, like, keep paying, like, money because they already have all the rights to all this shit. Mm-hmm. But saying that, Disney still owns my ass, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, so I haven't seen this movie. I wasn't interested. I don't like Emma Stone, but that's, like, another, like, thing. But I know one thing about this movie. And it's the fact that Cruella de Vil hates Dalmatians because her mother was killed by Dalmatians. I want to know what genius writer this was, because clearly, if this person can get a job, I should be a millionaire. I don't know why I'm not a millionaire right now, because I have better ideas than being like, Cruella de Vil hates Dalmatians and wants to make Dalmatian coats because her mom was killed by a Dalmatian. like who? Like, she couldn't just kill Dalmatians because she really likes the pattern. Like, that's literally her thing. Like, her thing, literally, like these movies, that she just really loves animal furs and she likes the way it looks. Like, that's motivation enough, right? Like, you don't need, like, a deep, like, oh, we're really gonna feel sorry for Cruella because her mother was killed by Dalmatians. If anything, that makes her mom seem, like, super dumb. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I realize people are killed in dog attacks. But it's, like, people whose parents have been killed by dogs, they may not like dogs. They might even hate dogs. But no one is going around going, I'm going to kill all the dogs and skin them and then wear their fur. Like, no one takes that extra step. I have a lot of opinions for someone who hasn't seen this movie.
Oh, no, I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah. But I've also heard, like, lots of funny things, like, oh, I'm so glad Cruella de Vil is a feminist. Like, like, okay, she might be a feminist, but also she believes in animal cruelty. Like just a lot of things that they're like, we're trying to make her, like, this girl boss, but it's like, she's an evil villain. Like, like, y'all called Elizabeth Holmes a girl boss, and she destroyed people's lives. So, like, we need to stop using this term and use it for actual girl bosses. Like,
I feel like girl boss works for the type of women we're using them for, because it is such a problematic white woman term.
And that is true. It really is. Like, it is 100% directed at white women in, like, problematic roles doing problematic things, but, like, viewed, like, in a positive, quote-unquote, way by other white women.
Yeah.
While the rest of us are like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah. It's just an extension of problematic white feminism, and
yes.
it's so funny.
Where's that intersectionality? I don't know, but she's a girl boss, so that's all that matters.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about this movie now. You're just reminding me of
everything. All the flaws. All right.
Okay.
All right. No, hold on. I have a really big question, and I want this answered now before we discuss anything. So, in the trailer, we haven't seen it yet, but she has red hair, and she also has the black and white hair. So, my question is, did she originally have that really gross, unnatural red hair? Does she originally have that really gross black hair? Does she really have a white hair? Or is she literally two-toned?
It's literally, she's born two-toned.
Two-toned?
She's born with that chic, split dye haircut.
I hate that I'm going to say this, but you know what that means, Corinne? That means that her pubes are two-toned as well.
One armpit is black and one armpit
is the other armpit. One leg in the other leg. One arm in the other arm. Like, just split.
The carpets do match the drapes.
I'm sorry, but it has to be said.
It's like half bleached, half not. She goes to get like a butthole wax, and they're like, all right. And she's like, hey, you only have to do half of it.
You only do half, because the other half you can see because it's bleached already. Jesus. That is awful. Again, who wrote that? Who wrote that? Why couldn't that be a stylistic choice? That makes much more sense, right? Because that's a more defining character, like a characteristic. Like, you have decided to be a two-tone person, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that makes sense character choice-wise.
Especially
right? And again, that fits your aesthetic. Like,
person, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you see someone like that, you're going to think to yourself, oh, this is a choice, a decision they've made. No one is born like that. But you know what? If your mom has been murdered by Dalmatians, I think it's okay for you to be just born like that. Like, you're an anime character. Sure.
Hey, you were born with... It's like that Tumblr post where it's like the doctor showing the mom that you have like pink hair. The mom's crying like, no, do you have to die?
You're an anime protagonist.
All right. So...
I'm glad you answered that question. I'm sure everyone else is super curious.
I mean, canonically, and they don't go into whether or not her pubes are half.
Well, I'm sure they don't. It's a Disney movie.
But you're over here asking questions like that I didn't know needed to be answered, and yet here we are. Why has no one made a hit tweet about this yet? It could be you, Monze. This is how you could get your
could be me, but I've got like 12 followers, so that ain't going viral anytime soon.
Not if I retweet it and someone else retweets it and then someone with more people retweet. I don't know. Okay. What do you think happens in this is what I think happens.
I think two-tone Cruella DeVille is born. She's just a sweet, innocent little girl. But then she sees her mother get murdered by Dalmatians, and she's like, I hate Dalmatians. And then she is in the slums because she has nothing else to do. Her father left her because she was a weird two-tone bitch. And then she's got to, like, work her way up, and she's like, I want to be a fashionista. And so she ends up working for Emma Watson. Who is that? Is that who that was?
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thomas. I knew it was a Thomas. Okay.
Yeah, Thompson.
And he was an Emma, yeah. And everyone's like, look at this weird person. And so she's like, I gotta dye my hair red so no one will know that I'm a weirdo. But everyone can tell she's a weirdo. And then, like, she comes up with some, like, really fantastic fashion ideas, and Emma Thompson is like, oh, this is so nice or whatever. She's like, maybe you can become my apprentice. So she like starts working there, but then it gets revealed that she took her designs, and then Cruella de Vil's like, how dare you take my designs? I'm going to destroy you. And so then she like comes up with a whole plan to destroy the fashion house and Emma Thompson or whatever. And then while she's there, she also sees a Dalmatian, and she's like, finally, I can take my revenge on all the Dalmatians. And she makes like her first like Dalmatian skin coat or like hat or like muffler or whatever. Like, I don't know. And she gets caught and she gets sent to jail, but she escapes or something. I don't know. Okay. And then she starts her own fashion house. And Emma Thompson is like, oh no, I've been defeated. And Cruella de Vil's like, ha, 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 ha.
Gotcha.
Am I? How close am I to
You're pretty close. You're pretty close. There's some stuff that's a little off, but that's pretty close to the story. All right, let's find a trailer. I'll caveat this with I also did not want to pay premium to watch this movie. And I had no desire to watch it until I found out how the mother died. And then I saw the scene on Twitter and I was like,
you had to watch it?
Well, now I have to watch this.
Well, no, I have no choice.
So I found other ways to watch it that didn't involve paying premium. Because I didn't want to give Disney that money.
I see. So you paid premium. Wink, wink, wink,
wink,
wink,
wink,
wink,
wink, wink.
The dogs. Oh my God, Rolf. Mark Strong is in this movie.
Oh, that's who that is. Ugh, shoot me.
I am woman, hear me roar.
That's why I said shoot me.
Dismay. She looks so stupid. Let me just set this house on fire real quick. Her hair looks so obviously like a wig. Like, it's so obviously.
Her, like,
there's
the top of the hair is so
it just
high.
It just doesn't sit. Yeah, it's, right where it should sit.
Yeah.
Just, that's all I could think of as I was watching this trailer was that hair is so obviously a wig.
I know. It was pretty obvious watching it.
Someone needs to get some tips from Glenn Close's Cruella de Vil because...
All right. Do you want to amend any of your everything?
Not really, I guess. She sets a house on fire. And somewhere in there, she set something on fire. That's...
All right. So, are you ready for this?
I am so ready for this.
Ready?
I am so ready,
You're ready
to make so many sarcastic comments. Yes.
All right. So we start with I think it does one of those like, oh no, we're here, and then we flash back, or does it start chronologically? I don't know.
I bet you're wondering how we got here. Freeze frame.
I'm pretty sure it's that. I'm pretty sure they like start somewhere. Yes, they do. They start somewhere and then they go back. So she's like, you're probably wondering how I got here, whatever. And she's doing like that whatever accent. And she's like, oh, I was born.
A British accent?
I was born this way. And she like comes out and everyone's like, oh no, why do your hair's black and white or whatever? And like, I've always been different. And it just shows her as like a child with like her half and half hair. And she like, they describe her a talent for fashion, but with a cruel streak. So she's like creative, but sometimes she's naughty. And the mother calls, and also her name, the name she was born with is Estella. But then when she's being bad, her mom calls her. They call her
Cruella.
So then the mom will be like, oh,
shouldn't it be Cruel Stella then? It would have made more sense if her name was Ella or like Eleanor.
Yeah.
So when you say Cruel Ella, that makes much more sense because otherwise it'd be Cruel Stella.
No, it's just Estella. I don't know. So the mom is like, uh-oh, you're being bad. Cruella's coming out. You should stop doing that. And she's like, okay. So then they send her to school.
Okay.
She's trying. She's like, I tried to be good. So like, she goes to school and she's trying to be friends. Everyone makes fun of her because of her hair. Oh no. And she starts like beating kids up, and like cutting things up and everything, and just being really just having a hard time at school basically because she keeps getting into fights. And the principal is like, we have all these rules, yada yada, and you keep breaking all these rules, we're gonna suspend you. And the mom's like, okay, fine.
Is this a boarding school or just like regular school?
It's like a regular school.
Okay, because you said she sent her, so I thought she was like sent away.
I'm pretty sure it was like regular school. Apparently she has something called poliosis, the decrease or absence of melanin or color in head hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, or any other hairy area. It's popularly known like, as white forelock when it affects hair directly above the forehead. So this is like what Rogue from X-Men has.
Okay, but it's just like half of her body.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. So it's supposed to be, it is a condition that could conceivably happen, but it's usually like a patch or like a spot or something.
Or
so
spots,
she has like an extreme version of it.
I think my sister has, because Jules has a lot of white hair. And she's 12. And my mom too has like a really just like on the side, like just a white.
Like just like a splotch.
Yeah. I mean, she also, now that she's older, she has much more white hair everywhere, but she's always had since she was little, like just a white splotch, like right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. There's just like some people, this one woman has like a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is something that can definitely happen. So it's like a streak or like a, you know, like a white streak. It's, yeah. So it can happen. These eyelashes. That's interesting. Okay. Point is, she could conceivably be born
have this
like this. Yeah. Yes. And yeah, so like she gets bullied a lot. She like makes one friend, which is this girl, Perdita Darling. And she's like, oh, we can be friends. So it's like, oh, right, because she and Perdita were best friends in primary school. But Perdita's last name canonically cannot, okay, I'm going to keep going, cannot be Darling. Because you know whose last name is Darling? The
Jim
Peter
Darling.
Pan. The Peter Pan family. Wendy Darling, Jim Darling, blah, 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 blah. And then also the fucking Lady and the Tramp couple, the wife's name, it's Jim, Dear, and Darling, which we don't even know if that's actually their names or not. It's just like the dog thinks that's their names because that's what they call each other. But I'm like, why is Perdita's last name Darling? It should be something else. Otherwise, this means that she's related to the Peter Pan people, which I guess because they're in London, sure. But like, what? So I was like, they keep just reusing the last name Darling like over and over again. My pet peeve. I think it's annoying. Anyways, so Estella gets expelled, and then the mom's like, all right, you know what? We're going to pull you out of school before you get expelled, actually. That way they can't like have the expulsion on the record where the mom's like, you can't expel her, we withdrew. And the teacher's like, whatever, I don't care, leave. And then she's like, we're going to go to London. And Cruella's like, oh my God, yay, London. The fashion center.
Everything's going to be so much better in London. No one there is like the worst.
Exactly. Also, she has like a dog that she found. So she's like, I like this dog. Is it a
Dalmatian?
No, it's just like a regular mutt that she found.
It's a regular dog, okay.
Yeah, so she's like, we have a dog. But then the mom's like, okay, we have to like make one stop before we go to London. So
the stop
is me getting
the pound
murdered.
To drop off the dog. Am I right?
No. So the mom stops. She goes to like this giant mansion, which if you're a $101, it's like Hellman Hall. So you're like, oh, this is gonna be Hell Hall. There's like this big party gala thing there or whatever. The mom's like, stay in the car, and then I'll be right back. So Cruella's like, okay, and then the mom leaves, and then Cruella goes, what if I didn't stay in the car? Because these people are wearing great clothes. So she gets out of the car with the dog, and she's like sneaking into the party and looking at all the fashion, because she's like, oh my god, I'm so obsessed. And then at some point, I don't remember exactly how, but she sees her mother outside talking to this lady, and the lady, like, they're just talking, and then suddenly these I think she's being chased by Dalmatians. And then so she's being chased by Dalmatians. That's right. She like goes into the party, and then like Dalmatians like find her and they like chase her out or whatever. So she's running and running, and she tumbles down the hill. That's where that like weird rock song is happening. Also, all the music is like licensed, so it's like weird because you're hearing like alt edgy versions of songs you already know, and you're like, what? Anyway, so she tumbles and rolls,
Okay.
and that's, I don't know if you've seen the scene.
I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna describe
Gonna play it,
but then I'm gonna play it for you. She tumbles and rolls, and then she looks up, and then you see the mom just like looking wistfully, dramatically out, and they're like talking in front of like a cliffside, because of course. And then the Dalmatian comes wearing this like leather daddy harness. And there's like three of them, and like, which is like actually like just a dog harness. I was like, oh wait, dogs wear harnesses.
Oh my god, Corinne.
And he like,
why is that dog wearing a daddy harness?
I was like, this dog would get banned from Pride by these
oh my
shamers,
god,
because it was around when the kink at Pride discourse was happening. Anyways, so then she like looks up, and the dog like sails over her head and bounds and like rushes, and like the three of them are like chasing her mom. She's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then the mom, it just like stands there like she's not getting bull rushed by three dogs, and then they jump kick her off.
They jump kick her off a cliff? They don't even like maul her? They jump kick her off a cliff?
They like jump on her, but they don't fall with her. So they're just like, poof.
They just like push her off. Somehow these dogs pushed a woman off of a cliff.
Yeah, and then she's like, ah!
This isn't their first murder.
So now I'm gonna find the clip.
Oh my god.
I saw this scene and I was like, oh my
I
god.
will pay. I will do whatever I can.
I will not pay to watch this, but I will watch this. Okay.
Okay. Let me click on this.
Ready?
I hope it has some music.
It does.
It does?
Are
okay.
you watching?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is so badly animated. This is such bad CG. Oh my god. She's just standing there.
That's
They literally push her off the cliff. Oh my god.
I wait right back while you digest that to turn my AC on.
What? What the hell was that?
And we're back.
That was such bad dog CG.
It's all bad. I was like, what is this? Sucker Punch? Like, what am I watching?
It was like it was 2004. Like, why was it so obviously so bad?
And like the slow-mo. The Nintendogs Dalmatian looks better than that.
The Nintendogs.
So yeah, so that's how the mom dies. And she's like, oh my god, no, I killed my mother because the Dalmatians were chasing me, and then for some reason they kept going and
decided to go after my mom, who was just standing on the thing and didn't do anything. Like, she didn't even run towards, like, did she not see her, like, at all? That she wasn't like, let me run to my child at least? Like, what?
She didn't see her daughter, because how could she see her daughter when she can't even see these dogs coming at her?
I guess that's true. When you're blind,
like,
you're blind.
Barking at her. Like, they're barking. And she's like, I wonder who that's for.
Weird. There must be somebody behind me standing on this cliff. That was ridiculous. And that was over so quickly.
I know. Like, that's it. The physics don't even make sense, because if that dog is jumping on her with that much force, the dog should also topple off the cliff with her. But no, they're just like wall jumping off of this woman.
Just gotta kick. Gotta jump kick a woman off of the side of a balcony real quick.
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
I know.
That was so stupid. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
So now she's orphaned, and then somehow she makes her way to London, and she's like, oh no, now I'm sad and alone and don't have a mother. I killed my mom. And then she makes friends with 2 other orphans named Jasper and Horace. And these 2 are kind of like your Oliver Twist-esque, like, they pickpocket and all that kind of stuff. They've been on the streets for a while, and they have a little chihuahua named Wink. And they, like, kind of run away from her, but then she follows them to their secret hideout, and they're like, all right, I guess we're all a team now. And so these are, like, Jasper and Horace are the henchmen in the actual movie. Which, colorblind casting, Jasper is, I think he's multiracial. He looks half black. And then Perdita is also played by a black woman now. So it's like, all right, fine, cool.
Okay, because Perdita is the original lady, right?
Yeah, Roger's
from Wonder Woman Dalmatians. Yeah, Roger. Okay.
Yeah.
So they knew each other as kids.
Yes, that is.
And I'm assuming they meet again when they're older.
Yeah.
In this movie too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting there. So, but yeah, in the original movie, it was established they were childhood friends, and
I remember they knew each other from school, but I guess I just assumed it was college. I think Roger mentions college. I watched like the first 20 minutes of the original movie like a month or 2 ago, but then the kids didn't want to watch it, so I was like, okay.
You don't want to watch this like incredibly monumental film that was the first one to use Xerox transfer technology so we could see the original pen strokes of the animators. You guys, you uncultured children.
Yeah, for some reason, my 4-year-old nephew wasn't into that. So
they don't want to see 101 puppies. Okay, fine. Can't account for taste. Anyways, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna roast your 4-year-old nephew. So anyway, so now they go around just stealing shit to make a living. They live in like this abandoned kind of loft area in like a warehouse. So now we go to adulthood, and now it's Emma Stone, and she dyes her hair red so people don't notice her. Which I'm like, why wouldn't you just dye your hair black? So that you don't have to bleach.
Because you have to bleach the other side.
Your roots are gonna come in funky. You have to bleach one set of roots.
What a dumbass. She has to be so extra, doesn't she? Like, it's unnecessary.
I don't know why. For some reason, they're like, well, we're gonna do red. So I'm like, all right, fine.
Because she's Cruella de Vil. Red, like,
the devil.
Demons and devils.
Well, that's not even her last name. Her last name is Miller.
I'm sure. Miller. Estella Miller. Everything about her becomes even more and more like, okay, all right. Continue.
Anyways, so she wants to be a fashion designer. And so 10 years later, they're going around as like thieves or whatever. But she makes their disguises herself. So that's how she works on the fashion stuff. And then like it's her birthday, and then Jasper and Horace, they get her a job as a cleaner at like this department store that's like really high fashion. So they're like, we'll get you in. Like they kind of like swapped out, or they put her resume in like the callback one or whatever. So then they sent her like a letter. And so she's like, oh, we got you like a job at that clothing store that you really want to like work at. And she's like, thank you, but it's like a cleaning job. So she's like, well, I'll get my foot in the door. I'll work my way up. So she's like cleaning and everything, but her manager like refuses to talk to her. And she's like, I have an idea on this. And he's like, I don't care, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So she's like wasting away her potential at this like dead end job, even though she's at the place she wants to be at, but it's just not what she wants to do. So then one night she like fucks something up at one point, and then the manager is already like, you're on thin ice, and she's like, whatever. And then she decides to, so she gets drunk one night, and while at work, and she gets drunk one night and she looks at this display and she's like, this display is so boring, I could do a better job than this. So she like trashes the display and like fucks it all up and everything. And when her boss comes in, he sees her like sleeping at the display, but like so many people are paying attention to it now. But this is also the day that like the actual fashion designer of the place is coming over, so they're like, oh my god. And the guy like pulls her out. He's like, you are so fired, you are so fired. And she's like hiding because they're trying to look for her. And then the lady comes into the door, the fashion designer lady, and it's Emma Thompson. And she's like, who did the display out in the front? And the guy's like, oh, it was this bitch, I'm about to fire her. And she's like, and she was like, you're gonna fire her? And he was like, yeah, we just did. And she was like, that display is better than everything I've seen in like 10 years. So I'm gonna hire this person as like my designer. And it's the lady, yeah, so they're like, oh, okay, cool. So she's known as the Baroness. So the Baroness is like this top fashion designer, blah, blah, blah. So she works for the Baroness now, and she's like one of the designers, and the Baroness is running this whole like Project Runway kind of bullshit thing. She's like, our spring collection, we need 10 clothes, blah, blah, blah. And she's like a hard ass. I think she fires somebody on the spot for some reason, and then like everyone wears like all white in the fashion thing. She's like, I need clothes like right now, blah, 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 blah. They're like, okay. And Estella, she starts to like take a liking to Estella because Estella has new and different ideas and is the only one that seems to actually be thinking forward, and the Baroness just really takes a liking to her stuff. And then Estella notices that when she's like, because she's kind of like, because the Baroness takes a liking to her, she's kind of like asking her in for different opinions and like kind of taking her on as like a mentor kind of thing, like as her assistant. And then Estella notices, oh yeah, there's like this necklace at the beginning of the movie that the mom always wore, and then she gave it to Estella and was like, this is yours, but then Estella lost it like the day that her mom died in the grass because she was tumbling all over the place.
Oh, I see. And what's her face is wearing that necklace.
The Baroness is wearing the necklace. And Estella's like, where did you get this necklace from? And the Baroness is like, oh, a previous employee stole it. And then, she stole it beforehand. And so now Estella's like, oh, okay, well, then you took this like from my mother, basically. So now she tells like Jasper and Horace, she's like, we gotta run a con. I want to get that necklace now. So they decide to crash this like party that the Baroness is holding. So now Estella, because the Baroness only knows her with the red hair, Estella's like, I'm going to make an alter ego for myself, and this time I'm going to go by Cruella because I'm doing some bad thing, and I'm going to wear my natural hair color because you can just do that, I guess.
She's just going to, how's she going to get rid of that?
I don't know. Is she wearing a wig, I think, at some point? They show her dyeing it as a kid, but then, like, they show a wig later. So, oh my God. I guess she's just wearing a wig. Oh, yeah, she's fashion shopping, and she stops into this store with, like,
Fashion shopping.
She stops by this store, because the store has, like, an old design of the Baroness's, like, this old red dress, so she goes inside. And the owner is, I think there's supposed to be, like, this non-binary, or at the very least, like, gay man shop owner. Queer shop owner. So it's like, wow, Cruella says yes to queer rights. Cruella's an ally because they get along great. And she's like, I want this dress, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We're like, okay, cool. So she crashes the party, and she's wearing, like, this old design. I think this is when the fire cape thing happened. The fire thing, yeah. And she's wearing, so she, like, kind of low-key, like, I think that's what happened. It's either that or some other thing. I don't remember. She's doing all sorts of stuff. So, like, she's trying to steal. She's
doing all sorts of things. How can I keep track?
Yeah. And then, like, Jasper and Horace are in, like, the cleaning truck. So they're trying to say there's like a rat problem over there or whatever, but they're trying to say that Wink the Chihuahua is like the rat. They put him in this cute little like rat costume. So
oh my god.
Horace is like being like, you know, they're like, we didn't call an exterminator. He's like, all right, you say you didn't call an exterminator, but there's a rat right there, and it's the dog. They're like, oh my god, go get it. So he's like going. So they're trying to like.
Okay, they buy it, sure.
Yeah, so like Cruella, I think, is supposed to just show up and create a distraction. Okay, yeah, so she does like the fire thing. She's trying to create a distraction at the party while Jasper and Horace are trying to steal the necklace in the Baroness's like secret spy room or whatever. So now it's a heist movie. So they're trying to like get it. And I don't remember if they actually did steal it or not. But like a lot of things are going wrong. And then at some point, and then the Baroness decides to talk to Cruella. Because it's a masquerade party, so that's also why she doesn't recognize her right away.
Got the mask.
Yeah. So then the Baroness is like talking to her and everything. But then she discovers that the Baroness has like a dog whistle, which she uses to control her pet Dalmatians. And Estella's like, oh, this woman killed my mother 10 years ago and stole the necklace. Those were her Dalmatians. The woman I idolized for so long actually killed my mother. Oh no. So now,
what a shock. No one saw that coming. No one saw it coming.
So now she's out for blood. And she's telling Jasper and Horace, like, we gotta get revenge. So now she's like, the thing the Baroness loves the most is attention, and what she hates the most is someone upstaging her. So she decides to keep crashing at the Baroness's party, wearing better and better fashion choices, and just constantly, like, upstaging her. That's what she's doing all the time. And she's still going to work as Estella, but then crashing her stuff as Cruella, and she meets Perdita, and she gets Perdita to help her by, like, writing more pieces about her, like spreading the articles about her, because now Perdita's a journalist.
Perdita a journalist?
Yeah.
Okay.
She sees her. Bless you. She sees her at the party, so she shows up at Perdita's work and is like, Perdita, darling, remember when we were friends? And Perdita's like, oh yeah, that. And she's like, can you just like really write a bunch of pieces about me when I show up at this and this and that and that? And they're like, okay. So she keeps showing up. So yeah, and also the dog, when they were trying to like get the necklace, the dog like swallowed the necklace.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, of course. So Cruella's like out trying to humiliate the Baroness. She's getting more publicity. Everyone's like, who is Cruella?
Who could Cruella possibly be?
Who is this?
We've never seen anyone look so peculiar in our entire lives.
I know, they're like, wow, the fashion is so great. Like, does the Baroness have a contender? Yada yada. And the Baroness like hates Cruella. She's like, find her and destroy her. And then also Estella is like still working for her. And she's seeing both sides of this. But then as she keeps doing this like Cruella stuff, the Cruella persona starts coming in to take over more.
Oh, you scared me.
So then like Horace and Jasper don't really like how she treats them. Also, it seems like Jasper has like feelings for Cruella. He's like the tall, smart one, and Horace is like the bigger,
short, chubby one.
Yeah, he's like the comic relief. And Jasper and Cruella are a bit closer, but they're both like, I don't really like what's going on here. It's kind of like Devil's Wears Prada sort of thing. Like, you've changed.
You're turning into something terrible because of fashion.
Yeah, pretty much. And then
it's called being a girl boss, Jasper.
You wouldn't understand. The Baroness has a lawyer named Roger, who is
that Mark
supposed
Strong?
to be no. The Mark Strong is like her butler or whoever.
Emma Thompson's butler.
Yeah, she has a lawyer named Roger, who is he played by? He's brown.
¿Qué eres, mi amor?
Kevin Novak.
I don't know who that is.
I think he's South Asian. Yes.
You want a snack?
He's Persian. Okay. Or Iranian parents. Gotcha. So she like fires her lawyer Roger because he can't find Cruella. And it's like this is...
Oh, Emma Thompson's character?
Yeah. Because Roger...
Like, why does Estella have a lawyer?
No, Emma Thompson's character has a lawyer, but she fires him. And I was like, Roger was always a like musician sort of person. What is this lawyer backstory?
So that's supposed to be
Roger from 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, he's a musician.
Yeah. It's supposed to be because he got fired from being a
Fired,
lawyer.
and he's like, well, I'm finally gonna follow my dream of becoming a musician and writing jingles for stuff.
Yeah. So I'm all right, whatever. And then Estella kidnaps.
The rewrites none of us asked for.
Truly. Like, I don't mind the casting, like, that's cool and all, but I'm like, what is his backstory? And then Estella kidnaps one of the Dalmatians, like the one that swallowed the necklace. So now the Baroness is like, oh my god, I'm being upstaged by this person, and one of my dogs is missing, and I still don't have all the outfits for my spring collection. My life is horrible right now.
My life is in ruins.
Yeah.
Nothing is turning up. The Baroness.
Yes.
It's all turning up. Cruella.
And then Estella also keeps, like, making these jokes about, like, skinning the dog or cutting the dog up or whatever. But they're like, well, we're just going to wait for the necklace to come out the dog. Like, he's going to poop it out eventually, right?
The natural way, yeah.
But she keeps going into this Cruella stuff because she's just so consumed with revenge, and also fashion changes you, and also we just can't handle obsessed women characters without every character in her life telling her, hey, maybe chill. Have you thought about calming down? And I'm like, why? That's a whole other thing. I'm gonna get into that later. So, like, they keep being like, you could be nicer, and she's
hey,
like,
Corinne, it sounds like maybe you need to chill.
Oh
maybe stop getting so obsessed.
There's like Estella then like makes a dress because the Baroness starts to think maybe Estella is Cruella, but she's not.
How could
sure.
she possibly come up with that idea?
How indeed?
They look absolutely nothing alike.
Right. So she like makes this beautiful beaded dress. Like it looks. If you remember that Guinevere dress, like the historical one that's like made of like embroidered bug wings or bug shells or whatever, like the beading.
Of course not.
But no. It's like an actual thing. The mom's dress from Brave, the green one, is based off of this dress.
Okay.
Yeah. So she makes this beautiful beaded dress. It's like all these like iridescent things or whatever. But then, and so that's like the final piece for the spring collection. But when the Baroness like tries to show it or tries to show that dress, there's no dress because moth, like they opened the spring collection and the dress was hiding like moth eggs, and they like explode out of the dress and they like eat everything inside the collection.
Wait. The dress was made out of moth eggs?
Yeah. They were smuggled in as, like, embroidery, because, like, Estella is, like...
Sure. Why not? You know what? Why not?
Yeah.
We already saw a woman get jump kicked off of a balcony. Why not?
I think it's the cocoons, but they're smuggled in there, in the embroidery. So that Estella's, like, hand sewing, and then, like, all the moths burst out, they eat, like, all the clothing, and then they, like, fly out. So that's why when, like, the door with, like, the stuff flying out, that's what that is in the trailer.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, and then when that's happening, Cruella is, like, having her own fashion show, like, in the park next door or whatever. Because she's like, oh, no, there's no fashion ever here, but come to my fashion show. So they're doing that, and she's doing her whole, like, fashion thing or whatever. And the Baroness is like, you know what? I think these two people are the same, because this was Estella's dress that she handmade, and now she has ruined my entire collection. It's got to be her, right? So she has Jasper and Horace arrested, and then she ties up Estella, and she, like, tells Estella, like, I figured you out, like, in the apartment. She's like, I figured you out, yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna kill you by setting your whole apartment on fire, but then I'm gonna frame it on your two friends, and they're gonna go to jail forever, kind of thing.
Okay.
Oh, she also showed up in, like, at her fashion show in, like, a dress that looked like it was made out of Dalmatian fur. So the rumor was, like, did she kill the Baroness's dog? Because, like, the Baroness knows Cruella stole her dog. So
she does know that. Okay.
Yes, and then, because she's like, who else would have stolen my dog? And then she's wearing, like, a dress that looks like it's made out of Dalmatian fur, and the Baroness is like, she skinned the dog, and everyone's like, did you skin the dog? Did you skin the dog? But they did it. Cruella, like, thought about it and joked about it, and they were like, you're crazy, but then she doesn't. But she's like, oh, but I'm inspired to make a dress that kind of looks like that. Which, like, okay, fine, whatever. So she, like, almost dies in this
She's
fire.
appropriating Dalmatian culture.
She, like, almost dies in this fire, but then she's rescued by Mark Strong, who and they have the necklace at this point. He reveals that the necklace is a key to a box that has Estella's birth records. And it turns out
she's super rich.
She's the daughter of the Baroness. But the Baroness didn't want her because she was born with that half and half hair.
Yeah.
So she was like, get rid of the baby. Like, throw it away. Kill it. And she lies to her husband and says that, like, the baby, like, died or whatever. And then the husband is, like, so sad that he dies of grief, or something like that. And so now, like, the Baroness has inherited, like, her husband's money and house and everything like that. But technically, Estella is, like, now, like, the rightful heir to all of this. But John didn't kill the baby. He gave it to the mother, like, Estella, the former employee, adopted mother who used to work for the Baroness. And so he gave it to her, and she ran off and raised Estella in secret. So then when she came to visit the Baroness to, like, ask her for money, the Baroness was like, I'm gonna have you killed because you stole my necklace. So he tells her all this stuff. And Estella is kind of mad about her mom lying to her. And there's, like, a fountain that, like, when she first got to London, she was like, Mom, we made it. I wish you were here, kind of thing. And whenever she's, like, has an update, she goes to the fountain, like, with her dog and, like, talks to her mother over there. So after she finds all of this out, she goes to the fountain and she's like, you were a good mom, even though you lied to me. But then she's also like, turns out Cruella is who I actually am. I think I'm actually just, like, a crazy psycho person because my actual biological mother is a crazy psycho person. So nature wins over nurture because fuck everything of parenting you've ever done for me, and you tried to, like, hide my true self. Or what? She has, like, this weird complicated relationship with her mom where she's basically like, I'm gonna stop being good because I tried so hard to be good for you, but it turns out I was never supposed to be good because my mother was crazy.
But she never really tried to be good.
She was trying to say, like, it's not in her nature because of who her actual mother was.
Okay. Because I was like, because she was committing crimes and stuff. Like, it's not like her trying to be good.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay.
So she decides to, like, go only by Cruella now. And she's like, Estella is no more. And she, like, tells her mom that she loves her and then, like, goes off. And then she, like, goes to break Jasper and Horace out of jail, and they kind of, like, want nothing to do with her because she's been such, like, a huge bitch to them for a lot of the movie, but then she apologizes, and they're like, okay, fine, we're family. So she recruits them for, like, her final...
And they regret it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, so they have, like, one more scheme. She's gonna crash the Baroness's charity gala. And you're kind of like, is she going to kill this woman or not? And Jasper's like, I don't think you should kill her. Revenge is not the way. They have, like, an Avatar Katara moment where they're like, don't kill her. It won't bring your mother back and it won't change anything. And she's like, don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Yeah. So it, like, shows her, like, with, like, this syringe, right, like the needle thing or whatever, but she doesn't, and you're like, oh my god, is she gonna, like, poison this lady? But I forgot what she does. She just, like, kind of sticks her a little bit, but that's it. There's nothing in there. She mails, like, a black and white wig to everybody who's gonna go to the gala because the way the news has it, they think Cruella died in the fire. So they were like, Cruella was killed in this fire, yada yada. So now they're having, like, this gala. So then Cruella mails these black and white wigs to everybody to wear as kind of like, hey, she kind of forges, like, a note that's like, in remembrance of Cruella, please wear this wig at the gala, kind of thing. And the Baroness, I guess, has, like, thinks that maybe Cruella might still be alive because they didn't find a body at the fire. So she's like, I want security to be on high alert for Cruella if she does show up. But because everybody shows up wearing black and white wigs,
I wouldn't have showed up in that wig. I would have burned that thing.
everyone wore one. So it's like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to tell who is who because of the stupid wig thing or whatever.
Because I can only see black and white, and I can't see any other features of another human being.
Yeah. So they're doing this. And then at some point, Cruella, I guess, like meets up with the Baroness outside. And she tells her, like, I'm your daughter, kind of thing. And the Baroness is like, oh my god, I can't believe that you're my daughter. Well, this also makes sense because you're so, like, talented in fashion and all that. So she, like, pretends to, like, show remorse to her, whatever. She, like, is like, oh my god, my daughter, like, come here, I'm your mother, of course this makes sense, all is forgiven, sort of thing. She, like, hugs her and then, like, throws her off the cliff.
Of course.
But then when she pushes her off a cliff, she doesn't realize that, like, all the guests were led outside for, like, some special event.
And so everyone can see her trying to kill Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, so they saw her, and they're like, oh my god, it looks like this bitch actually, like, killed her. And she's like, she fell, she tripped, it wasn't me. And they're like, we literally just watched you pushing this lady.
She tripped out of my arms.
Yeah. So then Cruella dresses up as Estella. So she doesn't show up looking like Cruella because everybody thinks that Cruella died, right? So she shows up as Estella and is
so they're just like, she killed this random lady.
Yeah, this random lady with red hair. But of course Cruella survives because she built a parachute
out of her hair.
Out of clothes. I don't know. Like, it's just a parachute built into her clothing. So she survives the fall, and then
because she's a flying squirrel now.
Yeah, and then she gets rid of her Estella disguise for good, and then, like, kind of climbs up the cliff face, I guess, in time to see the Baroness get arrested. Because they're like, you literally just pushed a woman to death out of cold blood. And then, so the Baroness is arrested, yada yada. And then Cruella decides to pick the last name de Vil because she stole a car that's a Panther de Vil car. So it's like she's naming herself after the car. And then she inherits the big giant mansion hall and shortens it to Hell Hall. And then they go in there and she's like, we've got a lot of work to do. And then the movie ends. And then there's a mid-credit scene where, so they find out that the Dalmatian that they, like, stole was pregnant. And that Dalmatian gave birth to puppies. So she gives a puppy to Perdita, and she gives a puppy to Roger. And she's like, from Cruella, here's your dog. And they're like, yay, I have a puppy. And then Roger is sudden. They show him start to compose the Cruella de Vil song. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. We saw him composing the song for the first time after he marries Anita. I keep calling her Perdita. The dog's name is Perdita. The lady's name is Anita.
Yeah, he's Anita. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's why I was confused. I was like, I thought...
Okay. The dog's name is Perdita, but her name is Anita. That's right, yes. So it's like after he marries Anita is when he makes the song because he meets Cruella for, like, the first or second or third time because he had never met her.
Yeah, it's like the second or third time because he's like, your friend is so weird and creepy. And then he's like, Cruella de Vil. Yeah, and he makes up the song because he's making fun of her. And he's like, why are you friends with this super creepy lady?
Yes.
Like...
Because he had been, like, making this jingle for a while, and he didn't have any lyrics. And then he was like, that's it! And then he started singing about her. And I'm like, that is where the song comes from. What is this weird bullshit of him in, like, his little apartment now making a song inspired by, like, this fashion person or whatever? Like, now you're singing Cruella de... Like, no. Because she gave you a puppy? No. This isn't... What kind of long con implications are these? And, like, I hate that she gives them the dogs. Because it's like, did she give it to them knowing... Like what? Like, what?
What?
Was she thinking, I really want a Dalmatian coat. Here's my 10-year plan. I'm going to give
Give dogs away.
A dog. Eventually they will marry each other. I will enforce a, like...
That is weird, though, now, because now I know those dogs are, like, related, which is...
Oh, that's even worse. Oh, no!
They're siblings! And I think, like, dogs, like, they know, like, if you're family or not, right? Like, that's...
I didn't even think of that.
You didn't even think about that? Because I remember seeing a lot of things talking about, like, oh my god, I can't believe the dogs are siblings. And I was like, what the hell happened to this movie? Yeah, technically they're siblings. Because they're from the same litter. Your face.
Can Hollywood just lay off of the implied incest for once in their fucking life?
No.
Just please, like, this is awful. Because before I was just mad at, like, this doesn't match up with timeline.
No,
right?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Timeline-wise, it doesn't make any sense.
No, because even, like, because Cruella's old in, like, the movie and stuff. Like, she's, what, 50 or something? Like, she looks terrible.
Yeah.
Like, she might not be that old, but she doesn't look.
Yeah.
She definitely looks older than Anita, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like... So that didn't make sense. And then it was like, well, she's not supposed to know Roger because she shared a car ride with Roger at one point. So they had, like, met each other. And it's like, he doesn't know anything about her, you know? Like, he doesn't know her at all in, like, the actual film. And so I'm like, why would she give these two puppies just to later come back and demand puppies from the litter to turn into a coat?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense motivation-wise, unless she's actually just, now she's evil, and we don't get to see her actually being evil. It's just in the middle, right? Like, this crazy, weird long con. But then now there's the added thing of those dogs are siblings. So they could never make puppies. They won't do it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Because, yeah, it was like sibling dogs wouldn't, like, animals know who, like, their siblings and family is. Like...
Well, I mean, there is a lot of, like, inbreeding, so it's not like...
Yeah, for sure. Happen. It's not, like, impossible, but...
So it's either it wouldn't happen, or literally 101 Dalmatians, the suggestion is that they're all inbred.
Yeah.
Which is, like, no. Why? It's just so, So that's the movie. It's just fucked up
anyway, that's the movie.
Dumb and weird and unnecessary, and I have so many complaints about this film. One of them being most of the main cast is white. Mm-hmm. We have Roger and Anita are actors of color, and then Jasper, I think, is also an actor of color. But everyone else is white. But the surrounding supporting cast and all the extras and everyone else are pretty diverse. Like, the fashion designers are all really diverse, the staff, the security, whatever. There's a lot of fighting that happens, like, with them or whatever. And or also, like, the Baroness, they have to, like, show her as, like, this really awful woman, because at one point she, like, throws a chair at one of her, like, maids or whatever. Like, she's, like, a terrible person. And my complaint is, like, yes, for diversity, but I'm really getting tired of movies that have a core white cast surrounded by a diverse supporting cast, but the white cast just, like yells at or fights or hits or just, like the way they treat the other people is still, like, not great, you know? And I know it's, like, they would do this, like, regardless of what the racial demographics are, but it's just frustrating because it's like, I see that you're putting more diverse people into the movie, but you're putting them into these, like, supporting or background roles. They end up just being used as props by the main cast, which I also think is not good. Like, I have this problem with Loki a bit. I noticed this a lot again in Cruella. And, like, there are other movies too where it's like, let's say all the security guards are really diverse, but then our main character is still white, so he's still beating up a bunch of people of color, you know? So it's like there's more diversity, but the dynamics and the agencies of these characters are still very different. You know what I mean? I feel like if your main cast was diverse, like I want to see a diverse main cast in addition to a diverse supporting and background cast. Otherwise, it's just like you're still what is it called? Making the white people central to the story. So you're still making white people central to the story. You know, like you're still focusing on white people and the white protagonist, and then it can come off as either white savior, or it can come off as like, well, it's still a white story. It's just they're surrounded by all these other diverse people. And I'm seeing a lot of films doing this, and it seems like they're doing it just so they can be like, oh, we're diverse. And it's like, but your main cast is still not diverse. You know, so now you're just using bodies of color as props or background or setting or like fun scenery or actual bodies for you to fight, and therefore cannon fodder, right? It's been really frustrating to continue seeing it. So that was a complaint I had about Cruella. But then also just like nothing Cruella does is that bad. Like she's pretty justified in like her motive. Like this woman killed her mother. So it's like, okay, I can understand why she wants revenge. Like the worst thing she does is like kind of be a bitch to her like two friends that she lives with. But it's weird because in the original movie they're just henchmen. And she's
they're
really
not her
mean
friends
to them. So it's like which is just weird because I'm like, well, this fits her actual character that we actually like. But it's being challenged because we've established like a family relationship here, right? And they're upset because she's treating them poorly, and it's like I get it, but like what? Like it feels confused. Like I feel like the movie doesn't commit to really giving us Cruella. They're giving us this sympathetic version of Cruella that is actually pretty justified in everything she does. Her worst thing is that she's obsessed and that she's mean. Like she's evil because she's mean. Because that's all that she's just being mean. To like,
it's they're too afraid to like commit to making her an anti-hero, basically, right? Because if this is her story, then obviously, right? But like you have to not be afraid to push her past those limits, right? Like because if like those are her friends, right? But we know that they become her henchmen, or like we need to see that relationship dissolve, right? Like we need to see them being very close, and then to her alienating them completely, but them maybe just even like being dependent on her for everything, right? To the point where they can't leave, right? And she needs them too, right? So it's like like an abusive codependent kind of relationship, right? Like that would make much more sense.
Yeah, or even if like their original relationship wasn't that close.
Yeah, where she just like she like put out like an ad and was like, I need 2 henchmen, and it was just these 2 fools that she found.
Yeah.
Right? Like even that makes sense.
Yeah. Or no, like I mean, even if they met each other like as kids, but the 2 boys just always mistreat her constantly and they talk down on her or whatever. So like we see her being talked down on by these guys, but then as she gets more power in there, she starts taking the lead and then treating them how they treated her.
Yeah, that makes sense
that
too.
Also
I
makes
see what you
sense,
mean.
right? So she can still be this bitch, but then we're still like rooting for her because we don't feel like, because we've seen how they treat her. But no, it's like we're a family, and then like, can you not be mean to us, or can you say please and thank you? And she's like, no, boom. And it's like, this is confusing. I don't know who to root for. And then again, I have an issue with, I see this all the time. I saw this a lot in Queen's Gambit, which is that Netflix miniseries about like the chess player.
Yeah, with the actress with the really big eyes.
Yeah.
The wide set eyes.
Yes.
Okay, look. They keep finding uglier and uglier white women to make attractive, and I'm tired. I am so tired. I am so tired. Like, how about we stop looking at ugly white women and calling them pretty, and we just look at, like, women of color and just admit that they're beautiful. Like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Because, like, what's the name of that one I don't know if she's an actress or a singer. The one that's been cast as the Little Mermaid. Like, she also has white set eyes, and people are like, oh, she's so ugly, like, whatever. It's like, okay, but this dumb white girl who looks terrible. Like, I don't think she's pretty at all compared to this girl. And they're just like, oh, and I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, I'm tired.
I
Okay,
actually like
continue.
the white girl's face. I
That's
watched the
okay.
movie because I like her face.
Feel free to like her face, but you're wrong.
I just think it's an interesting face. I'm like, what is this face? I've never seen it before. But in that film, the character is like, all she cares about is chess because she is
Mhm.
good at it. Like, she is phenomenal at chess, and she wins and she wins and she wins. Like, what's so satisfying is seeing her win like every single match. Like, she wins every single match except for like two, where she's playing
Mhm.
against the best chess player in the world, like a Russian, right? So it makes sense why she lost those games. But every other game leading up to it, she just wins, obliterates everybody. So it's very satisfying to watch because it's like not only is the film, like the series, telling us she's good at chess, but we're seeing her be very good at chess. And it's just so like fun to see her just constantly win, especially because they're showing chess as very like white and male, right? And she's a
Mhm.
woman, so it's, and she's very young, and it's good. And they go into interesting things about like being single-mindedly obsessed with like the one thing that you're good at, right? Which is like, we've seen this kind of story before, right? And the conflicts that come with that. But I feel like when it's a man who has a
Mhm.
single obsession that at something he's good at, right? It has to be something he's good at. Even though we see the conflicts it has on how it wears down on his relationships with his family and his wife or whoever, at the end of the day, the movie kind of says it's still good that he did this because he was just so incredible at it. This is just the one thing that's about him, right? The other
Mhm.
stuff is just bumps in the road. But with her, every single character keeps telling her, you need to get a life beyond chess. You need to get a life beyond chess. There's more to life than just chess. Have you ever thought about doing more than just chess? Have you ever thought about getting married? What if you got married to me, huh? What if you stopped thinking about chess and got married to me because I stopped thinking about chess and I want to get married, so you should get married to me. Like it's like she keeps being questioned by everybody on like, why is this the only, like, is there anything else more to your life than chess or whatever? And I'm like, why is the woman here? I've seen so many films where the man who actually should be questioned and needs balance not have balance in his life, and it's like, oh, but it was necessary, right? Like the Steve Jobs movie or whatever, right? But then with this, it's like suddenly the movie is saying that she needs balance. And for the series, I will say, I don't know what their messaging is because they don't really commit to a side or not, because it's like
Mhm.
she's still so good at it. So they're like, does she need balance? Does she not need balance? She seems to be kind of like, I'm going to live my life however I want. Like, if I want this thing, I'm going to do it. If I want this thing, I'm going to do it. I don't want to do anything else besides chess, so I'm not going to, kind of thing. But so I'm like, okay, but I don't know how the movie wants us to feel about it, which is why I'm like conflicted. But it was still frustrating to see her get so much backlash for that. And then for this
Mhm.
movie, it's like Cruella is obsessed with fashion, and she's also obsessed with vengeance. But then she keeps getting like, there's more to life than revenge. Killing her won't bring back your mother. Nah. You're obsessed. You're crazy. You're whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, not this again. And then we saw it in The Devil Wears Prada, right? We had an ambitious woman who became more and more ambitious. And then her jerk ass boyfriend and her dumb, stupid friends were like, oh no, like suddenly now you're whatever. And it's like, what? And then they were trying to show Miranda Priestley as like, because she was too obsessive around fashion or whatever, that's not the way to go. You need a well-balanced life if you're a woman. And I'm like, I want more men to see this messaging. I'm kind of tired of seeing women getting this messaging. But then also, we get this messaging, and it was in Soul and it was in Princess and the Frog for the black protagonist, right? They worked really hard for one goal, and they're like, I'm gonna keep working, I'm gonna keep working, I'm gonna keep working for this thing. And what does everyone around them say? Take a break, find something else, you don't need to work so hard. Like, that's the message for both of those characters. And I've seen people after Soul came out mention like, why is this messaging keep happening with black protagonists? So I feel like it's like, if you're not an ambitious straight white man, the messaging, and you're an ambitious anything else, the messaging you're gonna get is like, but balance your life, unless you're an ambitious straight white man, in which case it's like, nah, it's okay if you're single-mindedly about this thing. We're gonna root for you till the end, and we're gonna paint you in a positive light even if you ruin your entire life doing it. So I'm just annoyed with that because I feel like this movie plays into it. And then just like the stupid Dalmatian backstory. There's an artist I follow on Twitter, Kelly Turnbull, and she said that before the movie came out, she was like, I think a compelling backstory for Cruella would be if she decided to make a statement using real animal furs in her fashion as a commentary on how people don't actually care about animal welfare unless it's being used in fur clothing, right? Because people abuse animals like systemically no matter what, and no one really cares until like, oh no, now it's being used in clothing, right? Or like how people will, like after 101 Dalmatians came out, so many people bought Dalmatians as pets, but then they didn't know how to take care of them, so then so many of the Dalmatian dogs got like abandoned or abused or returned or killed or whatever. And this happens whenever there's like a movie with a popular dog in it, right? Everyone wants that specific dog, but then they don't take care of the dog. So then if that was Cruella's thing where she's seeing like lots of people trendily getting a specific type of dog and then not taking care of the dog, which is arguably more cruel, right? And then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to make clothing to like kind of show the irony of it. Like that would be a compelling kind of backstory, right? Or like motivation or whatever. If she starts that way and then just maybe keeps going or whatever or something. Or just someone joked about like, it would make more sense if the mom just had a pet Dalmatian that she loved more than Cruella, and that's why Cruella doesn't like Dalmatians or something. But how they did it was just like stupid. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie as someone who's seen it. What are your thoughts?
I'm trying to think of what would be a good backstory for Cruella.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I don't care, so it's kind of hard to really sort of focus on that, I guess.
Yeah.
It seems like they were trying to make like their own kind of version of Harley Quinn, right? Like someone who's like unstable kind of thing. That's what I got from the trailer.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm just crazy, and it's like, is this supposed to be like Disney's Harley Quinn kind of thing? That's the vibe I got. But yeah, I'm trying to think like what would be a good backstory. I mean, it could be if you want to write with her mom loved animal, like a Dalmatian more than her. It could just be that like she grew up in an environment where she played second fiddle to just like a whole bunch of different animals, right? So like as she grew up, like she's constantly trying to strive for affection from her parents or whomever her guardians, right? But they're constantly like they care more about the dogs or the horses or whatever kind of animals they are, to the point where she snaps and like maybe she just kills all of them, and like she is like thrown out or like whatever. But she realizes, that again, she's a fashion whatever. And she like uses this like as an art and as a way to like get that love from other people using these animals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think
like animal print is so popular.
Yeah, like animal print is so popular, right? Like if you love animals so much, right? Why don't you wear them? Why don't you become one? Like whatever. Like maybe that's what it is, right? Like she's like, anyone who wears this is an animal, and maybe that's why she wears furs, because maybe if she becomes it, this makes sound like she's a furry, but like if she like wears animal skin, right? Like she's an animal and she'll get that love, from whomever it is she was trying to get that from. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what would make this a better movie. I don't know if that's better, but off the top of my head, I'm just trying to think like what.
Well, no,
right? Because like what.
Oh, continue.
Like what would make a person, snap and make them sort of cruel enough to like kill dogs and skin them to wear them as a fur coat,
Yeah. No, I agree, because it's like, either you need to start, which she's just god-awful, and we're just seeing how terrible she is, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, just watching this, like, a character study on just this enormous mega bitch and how she got even worse, right? Like, how do you think, like, that this happened? Because it's an entitled woman that's like, I'm going to pay how much for the puppy so that I can buy them, so that when they're older, I can kill them and make a coat out of them, right? Like, that's like, wow. But people like that exist because they're rich and entitled and out of touch, right? So it's like, how do you get there? Either she's unsympathetic from the very beginning, but we root for her because she's so charismatic, right? And then we see her kind of just start as like a bitch and then she snaps. Or if we're going to go the sympathetic route, how do you go with someone who just goes a little too far
Yeah,
and
off the
then
deep end, yeah.
likes it and continues
And
going
likes
that
it,
far,
you know,
right?
or maybe doesn't doesn't realize they've gone too far, right? Like they think that they haven't gone far enough, really,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Like maybe with your
I think
animal
that
thing.
makes more sense because I think she is a pretty grounded villain, at least, you know, in a way. I know she's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But like she 100% believes she's in the right? I think that's the one thing that's very important about her. I don't think that she ever has a moment where she thinks like, oh, what I'm doing is insane, you know? Which I guess most villains won't, right? But there are some pretty cartoony villains. And I mean, she can be a bit cartoony, like in the cartoon or whatever. Yeah. But I mainly seen the live action ones. So, like, to me, that's
the live action one.
Oh, with Glenn Close? Yeah. Those are really good. But yeah, like,
I mean, maybe if we go with their clothing idea, she starts with just like painting animal prints. And then she starts like making her own animal print. But then she's like, there's just something still off about it. And that's when she's like, it needs to be the real animal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So then she
and then it just becomes like more exotic animals or just like so many that it's like, okay, well, yes, of course we do kill zebras and we wear zebra, like whatever, right? Like that, okay, we can forgive that, right? But then it starts being, you know, things that you wouldn't, you know, cats, dogs, whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, that's unhinged, you know? It's like, no, it's art, it's my fashion, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That would be more.
I mean, compelling. You could just focus completely on her as an artist, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and what that means to her as an artist. Mm-hmm. And what that means for her art. In this case, it would be fashion, but.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think my roommate's playing on the ukulele out in the living room.
That's okay. Someone's watching TV downstairs. There's just a lot of noise on this end. So, like.
I forgot to put I forgot to put my sign up.
That's okay.
I was like, I don't need to do that, and then womp. But
it's okay. I don't have a sign. No one in this house respects me. Or no, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I just think there's just better way. If you really wanted to make this movie, there's better ways to do it. But I also don't think this movie needed to be made.
This movie definitely didn't need to be made. No one cares about Cruella.
Yeah. And she's just the whole time like, I'm so bad. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, that's like another thing, right? Like, if someone's bad, like, you don't want them to acknowledge, like, oh, I'm such a bad person, right? Like, that's like a faux bad person kind of thing, right? Like, that's a poser, that's someone, like, trying to pretend to be bad.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to think, what Disney villain would have a good, like, I would like to see Scar's origin story. I think that's really interesting, right? Because there is that brother rivalry between him and Mufasa, right? Like, what gets you to the point where you
kill your brother,
and try to take over like his kingdom, right? Like, what? Like, I think that'd be an interesting.
Yeah, I really want an Ursula movie.
I definitely want an Ursula movie. Just I want to see her become the Sea Witch because I think that again is interesting, and that could also be something where it would be, you know, she started off as just like a regular, you know, magician or sorceress, whatever, and then probably trying to be contained by all these probably male mermaids or whatever, you know.
She definitely seems, from the like one line she had talking about her backstory, she seems like someone who was a star in her youth, like an incredible, like the most best top powerful person there, and then she did
beautiful,
something,
amazing, like so skilled and everything.
And she had a fall from grace. And it got exiled.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm just
that would be really
intrigued on what happened here. And she's also very ambitious. So it's like,
and she's a very charismatic character. Like, she's a beloved villain.
Yeah.
For sure.
She's great. So I'm like, did she have different morals? Did she do something? She seems very
was she
jaded.
like in love with like Triton, and then she gets burned or something, like, because she's like definitely after him and like that movie, right? Like, so I feel like there's definitely a personal connection.
I know,
there.
She's like, we meet again. Like,
yeah,
they
it's like,
have
what
history.
happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Exactly. I'm like, were they previously lovers and then something happened, right? Like, what went?
Did you promise her something and you didn't give it to her and she tried to take it by force? Right? Like, what is the... Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there any other... It's the thing is, like, I guess I don't care about villain backstories. Like, I don't care why you got to where you were necessarily.
Yeah.
The fact that you are here now doing a bad thing, like, I think that's...
Yeah.
You know...
You just need a motivation.
You just need a motivation. Like, you don't need to...
motivation.
Yeah, not everyone needs a reason why they are bad, right? Like...
Well, even the motivation is, like, enough. She's like, I want to be in power again. I'm wasting away here. I used to be the star of the whatever. And then she sees an opportunity. She's been, like, wondering, like, just plotting, like, how do I get back to the throne or whatever. And then she's like, oh, wait a minute. I see an opportunity here. She doesn't even care about what Ariel's doing. She doesn't care. She's like, I'm going to use Ariel to get at Triton because Triton is the guy she's after. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, this is what I want to see. Like, that's compelling enough. You know, we don't need to know why who wouldn't want to rule the ocean? You know, that's what she wants. And she found a way to get it.
Yeah, we don't need to know that her dog was eaten by sharks when she was 3 years old, and...
Yeah, exactly. It's enough. But I don't know. I think people like made Maleficent, and then it was so popular, and then they were like, "We're just gonna keep doing this."
Doing this, yeah. Which I don't understand why they did Maleficent. Did anyone ask for that either?
I think she's the most popular villain, so they made a movie about her.
Is she?
I think so.
This is all Wicked's fault.
That's the wrong. That's not the right one.
Yes.
Wicked is Wizard of Oz.
I know. But Wicked is about the witch.
Oh, you're right. This is all Wicked's fault. Yeah. I thought you were saying
like, I know what I'm talking about.
No, I misunderstood.
No, I'm talking about how they did a whole book, which was turned into a musical about the evil witch of the West or whatever. The Wicked Witch of the West. I was going to say the Witch of the Waste. I watched Howl's Moving Castle a while ago.
Yeah, I agree. It's just... I mean, I think there's something compelling about it. I'm not going to say I never need to see a villain backstory movie. I think there is something compelling about it when you do it right.
Yeah.
But a lot of these are just done very lazily. So it's annoying. Like, I think it is interesting to kind of see from the villain's perspective because usually we're on the hero's perspective. It can be, we just see the villain as the bad guy. We dehumanize them for the sake of the story, right? But then if you understand where the villain's coming from, then it can be very humanizing. And
there is only one villain movie that will mean anything to me.
Is it Loki?
And it's Megamind.
Oh. Yes, I was thinking about Megamind, like, while we've been talking about this.
I love Megamind.
I love Megamind, too.
Because Megamind 100% thinks he is the hero, right? He sees the hero as the villain, right? Like, he took everything away from him, right?
Yeah. But he also, he also embraced... He knows he's the villain in the...
He knows he's the villain. He embraces it, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't take it too seriously, right? Like, he sees it as a game, which I think is, you know...
Yeah.
Like, to me, that is compelling. And yes, he becomes a hero in the end, whatever, right? But he becomes a hero because he didn't have a hero to fight, right? Like, there's a whole... Which I think... I love that movie so much. It's so good.
It's funny. It's good. It also goes into... Because he also had kind of like a impish disposition, right? He was a troublemaker. He didn't have the best set of morals or anything.
Yeah, so he like embraced it or whatever.
Similar, but he still changed. Similar to Cruella. But my last criticism I'm gonna have for it is when she just like decides like, oh, there's no point to me being good because my birth mother was not like this good woman. It was this bad woman, so I'm supposed to be bad. I was like, what kind of weird I don't know if bioessentialist is the right word for it, but like, what kind of weird thing?
Like reasoning.
Yeah, like I get like embracing who you are, but like nature versus nurture, my guy, and also you can change if you want to be good. You could actively try to be good. You don't have to like be like, oh well, here's an excuse for me to be bad. It's like you're just looking for an excuse to not be
Yeah.
good and take accountability for your actions. Like this is
Uh-huh.
lazy, you know? Like I think it's compelling having a character who goes against what is expected of them, right? Who, like Alex the lion, goes against his nature as a carnivore, and it's his whole character arc in the film Madagascar, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's compelling within his character, especially the older you get, of being like, oh, how does he go beyond this genetic programming or just like how he was born to be? Right? And we continue seeing a little bit of this in the later movies. And then in Megamind, he does the same thing. He was kind of always had this troublemaker streak, and then he continued being the villain because he kept being treated as the villain. But then he chose to be good later because you can choose to be good. Like that's what the whole point of Wreck-It Ralph is. You
Yeah.
know? So it's weird that you're just going to throw away the parenting and influence of your adopted parent that you viewed as your parent in favor of, oh no, I'm supposed to be bad because my birth mother is bad. It's just weird messaging.
Yeah, I mean, in that moment, it could be, right, like, I know you've raised me to be a good person, but I need to do this, right? Like, I need to kill her in order to avenge you. And once you do that, I will be the daughter you want me to be, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe after she does it, she realizes that she can't, right? Like, she likes this.
Yeah.
So she can't do that. And then it's like, I'm sorry, mom, but like, this is who I am now.
Yeah.
Like, I think that'd be much more compelling, right?
I think
Because
they
it's like I have tried to do this and I have strayed, as opposed to like, you know what, forget everything I've been taught and told.
Yeah.
You know, like, forget you, mom, F you, like, I'm just gonna be evil.
Yeah. And like they like try to do that. She's like, this is just who I'm supposed to be. I love you. At least you loved me, kind of thing. But it just felt it didn't come off like how what you were saying, right? Because she was already like, I'm just gonna be Cruella now before she even like goes off. So it's like it's just weird. Like and again, like she didn't even really try to be good that much in the movie. So and then even her bad part isn't even that bad, which I think it's like don't whiffle in the middle. Commit. She's either doing good and being constantly misunderstood by people and then decides fuck it, I'm just, you keep misunderstanding me, fine, I'm going to do this. Or she goes all the way 100 to bad. So but no, they want that PG rating, so we can't have
I mean, you can
that.
still do lots of stuff with the PG rating.
That's true. PG doesn't mean implication. PG just means what's shown.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So they could have her kill the dog in a PG movie. It's just implied. So, but no. But yeah, so that's the film. I think it's messy. I think it's self-indulgent in a way that's kind of really stupid. It's fun. I will say it is fun to watch, even if you're making fun of it. The fashion is interesting. The music is like a little weird because it's like, why are they playing this song?
Like what? Like what song?
I can't remember, but it's like they're all songs that already exist. Like they didn't make any new songs for the movie. It's like a jukebox kind of soundtrack. But it feels weirdly out of place. And it's like, again, it's fun for the fashion, but it just looks really bad, and the CG's really bad, and the story's just whatever. I would give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay.
What would you give it?
I'd probably also give it a 2 out of 5. I'm trying to think. It does definitely seem very messy storytelling wise.
They're also trying to show her as some weird fashion revolutionary, which is weird because it's like she's white. Like, wow, this new face of fashion, this another thin, white, blonde-ish.
She's not blonde. She's
kind
got
of attractive
two-tone hair.
woman. Like, wow, so revolutionary, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to do like the future is now. It's just very girl boss. It feels so girl boss, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the whole thing. So.
I see. I don't know. I probably still won't watch it. So not interested. It sounds as messy as it looks like it was going to be.
Yeah.
There was like no surprises. Like when you were telling me, like, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just.
Oh, this director did I, Tonya.
Oh, I don't know.
And Lars and the Real Girl.
Huh.
I really liked I, Tonya.
I've only seen Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah. He also did Fright Night, $1 Million Arm, The Finest Hours. I could see some of I, Tonya in there. I really liked I, Tonya. I thought that was a pretty good film. Yeah, it just... I don't know. It's just... The movie is like...
Your face.
It's... Watching it is like chewing on a candy wrapper.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like... You can kind of taste the hints of chocolate that used to be on it. And it's not super pleasant, but it's also not that unpleasant. So it's just
It's like the candy bar you found in like the back of the fridge like 3 months after Halloween. And
yeah, it's like, you know, when like you're a kid or something, sometimes you like just chew on like a wrapper for a little
no,
bit.
because I was never crazy.
It's like a stimming thing.
No, I've never done that.
Well, some kids do that. They just like chew on wrappers. Anyways, it feels like that.
I used to eat paper.
So did
like
I.
A normal kid.
So did I. I didn't like, you know how like if you ripped a piece of paper out and like it had like da-da-da-da-da because it wasn't perforated? I didn't like eating the little pieces that you'd pluck off. That wasn't the part of the paper I ate. I'd like tear off like a piece of the corner off and eat that.
Oh, you're being bougie with paper. Like, what the heck?
The texture doesn't, it's so small, it's like, it doesn't like melt in your mouth as easy as the other stuff.
All right, guys, if you guys have all seen Cruella, let us know.
Let us know your paper eating opinions.
Let us know. Anything. No, It's not any good. Jules just asked me if Cruella was good, and I said no, and she made this face. And she slowly backed off.
It's entertaining.
When it gets off premiere access, we'll watch it, Jules.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay to watch it. I think it would be a lot more fun to watch drunk. But it's entertaining. It's not a boring, I'll say, it's not a boring movie. I don't think it's
okay.
Boring, so yeah. I just don't think it's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like everything I thought it was going to be, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Not surprised. I'm just shocked by how bad the CGI of those dogs were. Like, I'm still not over that whole scene.
That scene is the best part of the movie. It's so fucking funny. It's hilarious. I'm shocked that that's... Did you read... Speaking of dogs, did you read the plot synopsis for the Clifford movie?
No. That Clifford movie also looked terrible. I was watching the trailer like, what?
I haven't seen the trailer, but the synopsis for the Clifford movie is so stupid.
It is really stupid based on the trailer. I was like, first of all, he was the runt of the litter. He didn't get this dog from a magical...
He grew that big because she loved him,
so much. And then the movie looks like it's set in New York, but like right away they leave New York. So like I don't understand. Again, the books are like I used to watch the PBS show.
The PBS show, yeah. So
I think like episode 1 was like they're in New York, and then the rest of the series they were like in whatever that
Well
seaside
Island,
town or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so the synopsis for this. So it's like, yeah, Emily Elizabeth, who's a middle schooler. She should be an elementary schooler, but whatever. So she finds a small red puppy from a magical animal rescuer. Already red flag. When Clifford becomes a gigantic red dog in her New York City apartment,
like literally the next day,
and attracts the attention of a genetics company who wish to supersize animals, Emily and her clueless Uncle Casey have to fight the forces of greed as they go on the run across New York City and take a bite out of the Big Apple. Along the way, Clifford affects the lives of everyone around him and teaches Emily and her uncle the true meaning of acceptance and unconditional love. Yada yada. But like the genetics company, I was like, excuse me? What? No,
the movie should literally be about Clifford trying to find like his place and wherever it is, right? Because he is such a strange outcast, right?
Yeah.
And then you could even have that not foil, but like the exact same like similar storyline with Emily Elizabeth, right? Like let's say they move to that new town or whatever, and it's like her trying to fit in as like, oh, she's the weird girl from the city. She's got a weird, really big dog, right? And then you like do that thing. And then, of course, Clifford saves the day in some, like, really big way that no one else could have saved because Clifford was a giant dog, right? Yeah. And then, like, they, like, become part of the community. Like, that's the movie.
Exactly.
Why is there magic involved? Why is there a genetics company? Why? It doesn't make any sense. And then why is it an uncle?
I don't know.
She has parents.
I don't know.
They're not dead.
Maybe they're on a business trip.
They went out for a business trip and they never came back.
Yeah. Emily has
like
a lawyer.
Spider-Man.
Emily has a lawyer.
She has a lawyer? Is her lawyer her uncle?
No. It's just some person on here in the cast. Emily's faithful lawyer who helps her save Clifford from a genetics. How does a 12-year-old get a lawyer?
Excuse me, you mean you don't have a faithful lawyer?
No.
You haven't had one since you were 12 years old?
No.
Well.
Oh my god.
I guess you're not as well-to-do as I am. Apparently I got my lawyer on speed dial.
Wow. Thanks for listening. We'll talk
Thanks
to you guys
for listening.
Next time.
Hold on, Corinne, where can they find you?
Oh, they can find me on Instagram at Corinne is Korean. Where can they find us?
You can find us at Don't Watch Movies on Twitter, and you can find me at Magic Monster on Twitter as well.
Okay. Now we're gonna go.
Rate, comment, review. Love us. Goodbye.